How did you end up where you are today? You are in acting school now?
I'm at Pace University. I'm doing a little acting. I'm doing a minor in acting, actually. But this acting thing, it kind of happened on its own. I was just in the right place at the right time. And yeah, it kind of fell into my lap.
So what was that right place and right time?
Well, I'm actually a dancer. I dance for a dance company in Hicksville. And we go around doing performances and whatnot. And we had a performance in the city. Just so happens that Nine, the director, was there. And he saw me perform and whatnot. And then he asked me to audition for this movie that he's in the midst of developing and producing. And I went in for the audition. I was quite terrible. And but for some reason he called me back. And after the callback, the next thing I know is that he said that the role will probably be yours unless somebody comes in within the next few days and knocks it out of the park.
Was that terrifying for you? I imagine you'd be really excited, but then,
Yeah,
oh my God, how am I
mean,
going to do this?
It's like, it's kind of a huge surprise because after the first audition, I thought it was over before it even started, and then now here I was being offered the role. So it's quite bizarre, yeah.
And how did it work from there? So you went for your callback, he cast you, and
Yeah.
then...
And then the other actors were casted as well. And then we still needed to finance the whole project. So what we did was we rehearsed for about 2-3 weeks, and we put on the movie as a play in front of investors and contacts that he has, that we have and whatnot. And then we did this, we put on 3 readings. And after that, we just got more and more checks, and more people wanted to invest in the movie. And then we finally shot in October of 2009.
And at that point, how comfortable were you with acting? Were you already well into your minor?
No, actually, I got casted in my last year of high school. So when I was still a senior in high school, and I didn't do any acting in high school at all. I didn't do any of the drama, the plays, nothing. So this was my first acting experience ever. So I'm quite lucky.
So then what kind of preparation did you have to do? Did you take a crash course maybe?
Actually, it just so happens that one of the actors in the film, Grant Krychek, he's a professor at Pace University, an acting professor, and so he did a lot of coachings for me especially, and as well as for the other cast members. And also, even Nine, the director, was very helpful in developing the character. I mean, he wrote the story, he co-wrote the story. So he knows the story inside out, he knows the character inside out. In fact, he was supposed to play it 10 years ago. But, the pieces didn't fit at that time, so 10 years later.
Supposed to play 10 years ago, meaning the movie was supposed to be made that long ago?
The movie, weirdly enough, has been in the works for the last 12 years, but the pieces just haven't fit until now. So he's been with this for quite a long time.
So I'm assuming he had a pretty extensive backstory on this character,
he had
did
a
you?
pretty extensive read, and he knew the character inside and out. So whatever, I just would open my ears to whatever he said.
And then what kind of methods did you use from there? Do you like to break down the script, just, kind of wing it and see how it flows?
Yeah, I think it was the winging it kind of thing. I never really went method or did any of that crazy stuff. I didn't think it was necessary, so, yeah.
And then what was it like for you stepping on that set for the first day? Because all that equipment, all those people, I can imagine it'd be pretty intimidating.
Yeah, I think the first shot was in Longchamp in Soho. So we had this giant staircase that we had to walk down and do the dialogue and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, from the beginning to the end, I didn't really know what I was doing the whole time. I was just thankful that Nine and the rest of the crew were quite patient with me and encouraged me and worked with me. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't all that overwhelming. I think I adjusted quite well. But by that time we had all known each other, so it wasn't like I was working with strangers. So it was really comfortable and great.
I'd imagine doing the performance for the investors would help too. So
Yeah,
that way you
certainly.
get to get
Certainly.
familiar with everything.
By the time we started shooting, we had semi-blocked the scenes, and we had a good idea as to what we needed to accomplish in each scene and whatnot. So by the time we started shooting, it was just, snap, snap, snap.
But as a new actor, was there any parts that were particularly intimidating? Because I know, like, even in that scene, the paint throwing scene,
yeah, holy scene,
there's a lot of logistics and choreography that you have to learn.
I mean, blocking that scene, we had to be very meticulous and choreograph it accordingly, and we couldn't even, we had to be careful of throwing the powder because we had to make sure the shot was properly set up and before we even started throwing the powder and whatnot. But other than that, I mean, there was a dance sequence that we shot.
That was probably easy for you.
It was, I mean, I guess it was really exciting to have a choreographer teach you, and then, it's sort of like being back at home, So that scene also in the wedding scene, that was quite intricate, and so a lot of blocking and a lot of extensive blocking was done to get the dancers correctly in place, to make sure we hit our marks, and so
And in terms of your character,
mm-hmm.
how comfortable were you with just portraying him? Do you guys share a lot of similarities, especially, I mean, in terms of your thoughts on marriage, too?
Well, I remember the first time I got the sides before I auditioned, and there's a character description. So when I read that character description, it was like looking in a mirror to some degree. He's wise behind his years, he's sincere, he's good looking. No. But yeah, I and then reading the script, it was like the way he reacts, the way he acts. He has this mental rule book that he always has to follow, and if anything deviates from that mental rule book, he doesn't allow himself to do it. So I can relate to that. He's very structured. So a lot of the times it was like looking in the mirror. When it comes to arranged marriages and whatnot, we sort of differentiate, but I can't really bring my own judgment when I started doing that.
And how about how he navigated his whole little situation there? Do you agree with the steps he takes, or would you have done something different?
Well, I mean, you've seen the movie,
yes.
So you know what happens. So I can't say a whole lot. But personally, I guess Harry's just somebody who thought he knew, who has a plan, and he's just very much trying to go according to plan, and he has to. Things are constantly getting in the way. He constantly has obstacles to overcome. So he's just a guy that's driven to do what he thinks is right.
What about ways he reacted to certain things in particular scenes? I mean, in terms of the script, if you thought that something he was doing wasn't right, or maybe just dialogue didn't sound right, did you have the freedom to suggest changes?
This was my first time, so a lot of the time it was I tried to just stick to the script and stick to the direction. But I think later on, when you gain more experience, you sort of have more of an input. When you feel more confident with the craft and what you're doing, then you'll have more input, and I think that's what will happen in the future for me as well.
And how about your co-cast? I know a lot of them have like a pretty extensive list of films they've worked on, so did they help you?
Yeah, I think for some of the cast members, this was actually their first film as well. For others, they've been doing this. But they would give me some advice as to marks and lighting, stepping into your light and hitting your marks. And but mostly it was the director that really shaped the performance.
And what about in terms of shaping the relationship amongst you guys? Because the four of you are a pretty close-knit group of friends, so I'd imagine you had to spend a lot of time together to make it organic on screen.
I think the rehearsal process was so extensive that all of it was quite organic when we started shooting. So we spent a lot of time doing the coachings, rehearsing, all that stuff, so we got to know each other by the time we started shooting. It was fine.
And did you guys end up kind of like a mini family by the end? Was
it
like a blast
all
to work
of us
with
got
them?
together. I mean, even after the shoots, after we finished shooting, we would get together, have get-togethers here and there. I mean, they often go to bars, and so I can't tag along. But whatever I couldn't make it to, I'd do it.
What was it being under 21?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 20 now. So when we shot, I was 18. Even worse. So.
Was that awkward at all, especially with the romantic relationship too? Were you intimidated by that?
No, I mean, you have a job to do. You know, it's not like the romance is really taking place behind the scenes or something. So it's just something you gotta do. It's part of your job. So.
And how has it been since the film wrapped? You were in a few festivals, right?
Yeah, we went to Austin, we went to Mumbai, we went to London. So wherever we've shown it, it's been really well received. In Austin, we had sold out crowds. Actually, we had sold out crowds in all the film festivals. In Mumbai, it was so good that they demanded it to be played again the next day. London, we've won a few awards for the Audience Choice, Best New Talent. So yeah, I mean, wherever it's been shown, it's been really well received. So we're excited for it to come out and for the masses to see it.
Backtracking to India, how was it? You actually went there to shoot the wedding scene, right? That's pretty incredible. I mean, I imagine this film has a little small budget, so that must have been a nice chunk.
Yeah, I mean, budgeting, I mean, whatever resources we had, we put in the right places. And so we had to go to India to shoot the wedding scene. There was no way around that. This was the first time I went to Gujarat, actually, Gujarat. I usually go to the southern parts of India. This is the first time I ventured out there. So for me, it was a new experience, just like it was for the rest of the cast. So it's quite beautiful. It's really nice.
After this whole experience, you've made your first feature. Is there any particular lesson that you really soaked in and are going to continue to think about now?
You know, like, filmmaking is really, it's like a collaboration of so many different elements. And it's kind of, I don't want to say unfortunate, but I guess the stars and the actors get a lot of the credit most of the time. I don't know if I'm wrong, but you know, they get the glory, the glitz, the glamour. They're on the red carpet. People
They're
are
the faces of the film.
Yeah, exactly. But when it comes down to it, the way I see it is that I'm really a small part of the film. I mean, I'm a small piece of the puzzle. I'm essential just like any other person, production assistant, the camera people, lighting, the hair, makeup, clothing. So for me, it's like it's a collaboration of so many different elements that need to be orchestrated extremely well. I mean, and the director of this movie directed the heck out of this. So a large part of the reason why this film is as good as it is because we had a lot of passionate people working on it. A lot of good people on this project, so you know the mark of a film is really because of all these different people.
So what's your plan from here? Would you like to, you know, expand your horizons and test out some of those other positions?
I mean, right now my focus is acting, but we'll see. I mean, direction, from what I've learned, is very hectic. A lot of headaches. I mean, my director Nayan is running around constantly on the phone, constantly talking to this person, talking to that person. There's really no day off. You're working 24 hours around the clock, so I could wait on that for now.
Do you two plan to work together again?
Yeah, certainly. If he hires me again, which I think he will.
Does he have another idea?
Right now, I mean, I'm sure that he has stuff in the books, but right now, this is his main focus. This is our main focus right now. So.
And as much as you're enjoying this now, you know, do you have any plans? Do you want to continue working or do you want to focus on school now?
I guess I'd like to balance both. I need to finish my education first, as I've been told by my parents. But certainly if an opportunity comes along, can't pass it up.
Anything in particular you'd want to do? Any, like a genre or maybe switch over to TV?
I would love to do a lot of different stuff. Nothing in particular, but anything that's great. It's really just, you know, whatever comes my way and whatever I'm willing to go after. But yeah, certainly a lot of different things. I'd like to stick around for a